We're here from southern Vermont for Palestine. We're out here today with the Uncommitted movement, and we're calling for not another bomb. We're calling for the Harris campaign to stop weapons sales to Israel and stop military aid to Israel. So we're asking people to sign a petition to make this a priority for the Harris-Walz campaign. And we stand for no more weapons to Israel.
You can't hide. You're committing genocide. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. You're committing genocide. Harris, Harris, you can't hide. You're committing genocide. Harris, Harris, you can't hide. You're committing genocide. The killing, stop. The killing, stop war crimes. Israel out of Palestine. The killing, stop war crimes. Israel out of Palestine. The killing, stop war crimes. Israel out of Palestine. And the killing, stop war crimes. Israel out of Palestine.
today to tell the Harris campaign, not another bomb. Today we're taking part in an action happening nationwide. I believe in more than 85 towns and cities. So, you know, although we're here in rain with a smaller turnout than anticipated, we're part of a bigger message and movement. I'll just start off with a poem by Muhammad al-Kurd, and then Steve will lead us in a moment of silence. This is called Tonight We Die as a Family. At the hospital, the nurse is startled. A surprise visitor, her husband's corpse, on a stretcher. He arrived in the backseat of a taxi, a makeshift hearse. There are not enough ambulances in Gaza, and more than enough death. She is livid. Men never listen. I told you, wait till after my shift. I need to tend to the wounded first. I told you tonight we die as a family. We were supposed to die as a family.
During the past year, I found myself thinking again and again about the human predilection for turning a sense of victimhood into a justification for anger and violence. Certainly in Israel, but it's a human thing. Think of Bosnia and Rwanda. And I found myself thinking how we have to not let our reasons for anger, and we have many reasons for being angry, undermine our sense of the source of our anger, the enormous sadness, the mourning, the grieving for what's been happening in Gaza. I thought the other day I'd count, and I realized that if we took 1 second of silence here today for every person who's died in Gaza this past year, we'd be standing here from now until midnight. But we'll just take 1 minute of silence for all of them now.
Next up, we'll have Antonia speak on behalf of Addie.
Can everyone hear me? No. How about now? And this was written by Addie, who is a member of Southern Vermont for Palestine. I've been thinking a lot about borders, In occupied Palestine, we've seen the borders of the so-called State of Israel creep ever outward, bringing displacement and death. From the Balfour Declaration in 1917 through to present day, colonial powers have imposed and expanded these borders as a means of unleashing Zionist violence towards the indigenous people of Palestine. Here at home, the American border tells a similar story. As European colonizers manifested their supposed destiny, the ever-westward creep of the American frontier represented a frontline battle for indigenous land, life, and resources. Competing colonial powers fought wars and signed treaties, trading land to which they had no claim, while ruthlessly attacking indigenous lifeways and land stewardship. When the American frontier closed in the 1890s, it signified a shift in American colonial orientation away from the domestic domination towards global imperialist ambitions. The U.S. seized power in Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Guam, and the Philippines during this period, claiming that their populations were incapable of self-rule. The American empire was hungry for the military and economic benefits it would extract from these lands and their peoples. In the 21st century, it can feel as though the U.S. border is a fixed entity, a fact of life on this continent. Yet it remains a battleground, both figuratively and literally. It is the hard-fought barrier between us and them. It is the trophy symbolizing previous victories of conquest and the promise of more to come. As the frontier transformed into a national border, so arose the need to defend and fortify that border through immigration laws and militarization. From the rejection of non-white, sick, and disabled immigrants at Ellis Island to our contemporary border walls, mass deportation, and Muslim bans, the U.S. border defines one of the world's most tightly guarded set of commodities, the rights of an American citizen. Most of us here today are members of the American voting public. That group is comprised of roughly 162 million people out of the global population of 8.2 billion. And yet, to some extent, it is the American government which governs the entire world. We have seen repeatedly in the last few months how ceasefire resolutions with near consensus are stopped in their tracks by the U.S. The American economy dictates the economic conditions of the entire world. Our military is the most powerful. Our culture and language dominate to an incomparable extent. All people in the world are subject to American government's rule, but only semblance of accountability is to a tiny fraction of the world's population, the so-called American people. In reality, the U.S. government not only fails to represent most of us who live here, but is our main oppressor. We learned this over and over from social movements of the last 100 years, the Black freedom struggle, the labor movement, the fight for queer liberation, the disability justice movement, and the struggle for indigenous sovereignty. And yet, despite the state's violence against our communities, we are led to believe that U.S. state violence abroad is in service of our safety, prosperity, and well-being. Are we truly safer with 40,000 Palestinians killed? Are we truly richer now that there are no universities left in Gaza? 26 million Americans have no health insurance. Are we truly better off now that American bombs destroyed 20 of the 36 hospitals in Gaza? Our government is not just failing us. It is exploiting communities all over the world. This is not a glitch in the system. This is the system, functioning as intended, controlling U.S. borders and expanding American homogeny. This is the essence of what our government is designed to do. What would it mean for us as Americans to reimagine our struggle for justice in alignment with the people of the rest of the world? What would it look like for us to grapple authentically with the reality that the American government, to some extent, governs the entire globe? What if we took it seriously that for 7.8 billion people, foreign policy is the single most important dimension of American politics? For tens of thousands, it is literally a matter of life or death. Where most people in the world are concerned, there is very little that distinguishes our two political parties from one another. No U.S. president has ever governed with a shred of meaningful accountability to non-Americans, particularly those in the global South. The presidential role demands that these people be seen either as a resource to be exploited or unfortunate victims in a game of geopolitical chess. The casualties of U.S.-backed coups, the collateral damage of war, the unlucky frontliners in the climate catastrophe. Our government is perpetuating a genocide, and we must fight hard to stop it. But beyond this election cycle, beyond this genocide, we need to dismantle the machine itself, which is engineered for domination regardless of who is operating it. Where borders function to authorize dispossession, occupation, and apartheid, we need to uplift the preciousness of life itself. I want to close with a poem by Rafat al-Arir, who Israel murdered on December 6th. Before he was killed, his final tweet was a response to Kamala Harris, in which he said the Democratic Party and Biden are responsible for the Gaza genocide perpetuated by Israel. This poem is called Drenched. On the shores of the Mediterranean, I saw humanity drenched in salt, face down, dead, eyes gouged, hands up to the sky, praying, or trembling in fear. I could not tell. The sea, harsher than the heart of an Arab, dances, soaked with blood. Only the pebbles wept. Only the pebbles. All the perfumes of Arabia will not grace the rot that Israel breathes.
Thank you. Is Val here?
I wasn't sure when I was going to come up, so here I am. My name is Val. Can everybody hear me? No. Little closer? How's that? Okay. Okay, so I'm Val, and I'm with Jewish Voices for Peace, Vermont and New Hampshire, because I have historically significant ancestors. Really, you can look them up online. Once I used them to win two truths and a lie. There's nothing special about this, no cookies or store discounts, but the names are enough for some people, so I won't be naming them. What I want you to know is this. Their legacy is prejudice and oppression, generously left not only to me, but the entire United States. They wrote into being the country we are trying to change. My ancestors also lived in a global world. They shared it badly. They were never held accountable, and to me, they are a warning. To be proud of them is to be proud of the status quo, and I cannot be proud of that. If I'm not actively fighting injustice, I am complicit, and I just can't sit with that. I'm not sure how anyone can. We must stop the violence. We must negotiate peace. There is no other way to share this world. It is a solution my ancestors would not be proud of. There is no beginning or end to activism. It is woven into every action of many people over generations. I am grateful to the people who walked this path before me, who shoulder this responsibility when they should not have to. I am so privileged to be aware of and connected to people thousands of miles away, fast and clear and immediate, and usually it's to laugh at cats, because laughing at cats is apparently a human universal. Too many days this connection brings me grief. My heart burns with rage and pain. I see through the eyes of Palestinians on the ground everything they see, viscerally. I have seen Gaza, I have seen devastation, and I have seen enough. We must have ceasefire. I do not need numbers. Even one precious life is too high a price. People are not collateral damage. They are not over there. They are right here. They are me. And if it were me, I would want the world screaming my name. If it were me, I would want you to resist. And if it were me, I would not want you to stop until we are all free. Free Palestine in our lifetimes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nancy. I have a very quick announcement to make. Can everybody hear me? Okay. On Friday at 4 o'clock, this Friday, Randy Keeler, who was really one of the great activists of New England for many, many, many years, passed away last month. There's a memorial for him at the Second Congregationalist Church in Greenfield at 4 o'clock this Friday. So I just thought there are people here that might want to know about that. So thank you, and I expect to see some of you here.
Thank you, Nancy and Val. Thank you, Nancy and Val. Next up, we have Far.
Thanks, Emmett, and thanks, everyone. Thank you all for coming out on such a rainy day and such a sad occasion. So this past month, it's been a real ride on the domestic political scene. Democrats, largely speaking, they've been moaning in agony that they were stuck with the geriatric Genocide Joe as the only apparent bulwark against the fascism that's anticipated with a second Trump administration. And then he finally relented and stepped out of the presidential race, and the well-oiled Democratic machine ushered Kamala Harris into the breach. A lot of Democrats leapt for joy and declared the first day of Brat summer. Meanwhile, buoyed by a fawning and fully bipartisan reception by Congress, Israel under Netanyahu accelerated its massacres against Gaza, its assaults against the West Bank, its desecrations of Al-Aqsa, and its assassinations across the region, transparently designed to draw its enemies and its friends alike into its war. And those still paying as much attention to Palestine as they are to coconut memes sounded the alarm about the prospect of Harris choosing arch-Zionist Josh Shapiro as her running mate. And when she ultimately instead chose Tim Walz, we were all told that we should take the win and turn our efforts toward defeating Trump, who we are assured would be far worse for the Palestinians. There are more than 40,000 Palestinians who have not lived long enough to find out just how much worse their fate might have been under a theoretical second Trump presidency. Thousands of those were not even old enough to have known what life was like during Trump's first term. But any Palestinian of any age still alive to do so can attest through personal experience that their lives have mattered less under the Biden-Harris administration than under any American administration in their lifetimes. Still, Democrats insist that we must defeat Trump to prevent the arrival of fascism to American shores. And meanwhile, American assault rifles that murder Palestinians in the hands of fascist settlers in the West Bank return home to be wielded against black communities in the hands of hyper-militarized police departments. American bulldozers that destroy whole neighborhoods and refugee camps in Palestine return home to sweep homeless encampments, as just happened just this last week across the bridge over at the transportation center. American money goes to Israel to help fund prisons where Palestinians are routinely raped and tortured. While the Vermont Department of Corrections proposes a new women's prison up in Essex, Vermont, even though their own leadership has understood for decades that putting people in cages does not rehabilitate them. Fascism is not a theoretical future possibility under a hypothetical Trump regime. It is a clear and present reality for many under the Biden-Harris administration, as well as, to be clear, under the preceding Trump term. Many of us who are here today might not necessarily personally be threatened by this reality, but we would do well to remember the post-Holocaust mea culpa of Pastor Martin Niemöller. To paraphrase for this Brattleboro audience, first they came for the homeless, the addicted, the panhandlers, and I did not speak out because I was not homeless, addicted, or a panhandler. And indeed, such sweeps of the homeless and beggars were among the first actions of the German Reich after Hitler ascended to the chancellery. So it would behoove us to speak out for those more threatened under the current system than ourselves, lest we eventually find that there's no one left to speak out for us. And it would behoove us not to sell our votes so cheaply to the lesser of two fascisms, or the very hypothetical lesser of two genocides. Instead, we must, at the very least, demand that Kamala Harris earn our vote by making a clean break from the policies of her boss and her predecessors, and publicly and forcefully commit to an arms embargo against Israel, and begin the process of divesting from brutal systems of oppression, both at home and abroad.
Hi. Do you want to say something? Repeat after me. Free, free Palestine!
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 Thanks. Hi, my name is Sonia Silbert. I'm another Jew for a free Palestine. I'm a part of Jewish Voice for Peace, Vermont and New Hampshire. There's a bunch of us here today. Hey, JVP. I'm here today to say that sending arms to Israel does not keep Jews safer. I'm here to say that the U.S. support for the genocide of Palestinians is not in our name. Supporting Israel is not supporting me as a Jew or our community. And objecting to their genocidal actions is not anti-Semitic. Standing up for justice for all is a Jewish value, and one I am proud to stand up for today. I call on our elected officials, Congresswoman Ballant, Senators Welch and Sanders, Vice President Harris, and so many others, to listen to the will of the people and stop sending arms to Israel. Enacting an immediate arms embargo won't erase the harm that has already been done, but it is a first step towards accountability, and it is the only way to guarantee an end to the genocide. Like many of you, I have been haunted by the images, videos, and stories streaming out of Gaza and the West Bank, and especially by the fact that our tax dollars are funding the horrors, and much of it is done in my name as a Jew. When I was a kid going to Hebrew school, we learned about the Holocaust, and we learned to say, never again. Today, we say never again for anyone, anywhere. Not another bomb! Not another dollar! Not another bomb! Not another dollar! Not another bomb! Not another dollar! Not another bomb! Not another bomb! Not another bomb! Not another dollar! together.
In case folks don't know, there's a barcode up here. You can sign the letter to the Harris Waltz campaign demanding that there's not another bomb sent to Israel, Palestine. I just want to say, too, that the U.S. Congress has just passed another $20 billion in arms. There was $28 billion a few weeks ago. But every year, there's a routinely $3.8 billion allocation to Congress. If that money stayed at home, that would be $6 million for Vermont alone. That equates to 687 households with public housing for a year. 2,042 children receiving free or low-cost health care. 64 elementary school teachers. 16,709 households with solar electricity produced for a year. 156 students with their loan debt canceled, and 5.1 million N95 respirator masks. So just think about how that money could be better invested in Vermont, where we need housing, we need flood relief, we need so many things. So please, let your members of Congress know. There's ways to contact them up here. You can find out on Southern Vermont for Palestine website. Thank you very much.
So we had one more speaker, but sadly she couldn't make it today. So if we'd let, if people would like, we can listen to her words, as in I can read what she wrote, or we could march. What are people feeling? Is the rain an issue?
How about marching?
Marching, it sounds like.
I want to be visible. I want people to see us.
Yeah, let's be seen.
There are signs up here.
We have some signs up here. Come and grab some, and flags. Yeah. So, drummers, take it away. Itai, take it away.
When Palestine is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Palestine is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Palestine is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
from the river to the sea.